Good evening, ladies and gents. Good evening, Jammer.
Good evening. How are you?
Good evening. I sounded really happy there for a change, in fairness to me. How are you doing, mate?
Yeah, no, I'm good. I'm good. Happy to get back into some Welsh casting, and honestly, quite excited for the matchups that you got today.
I'm slowly convincing Jammer to come to Wales. By the way, it will happen at some point. Trust me. Me and Jammer have only met a couple of times in person, and it's usually been at events in England. So I will force him to come to Wales at some point when he's off work. But yes, we're back, mate. Back in Welsh Esports League land, in EsportsWales land, I should say as well. Also, we've made some adjustments, by the way. Jammer reminded me literally about 10 minutes ago. Feedback from last stream, by the way, Nick. Your crosshairs were dog. So can you fix the crosshairs? Weren't my crosshair lads. Just want to throw out there. We had player crosshairs on, so nothing to do with me. Blame the players and their crosshairs. Mine is normally a little small dot. I showed Jammer it, and he was like, "God, that's cringe." So evidently, I need to change my own crosshair anyway. But we've adjusted that. We've made some slight amendments to the way your viewing pleasure can be gained. But otherwise, mate, we're here for the first match of the night, and it's Swansea Esports again. Okay, I'm just gonna get that out of the way because I feel like I need to be specific about it. It is Swansea Esports. I'm going to remain unbiased as best as I possibly can. But they are playing against the Robins, which is one of the teams we watched last week as well also. So that being the Shuby team that we were talking about. We had a good chat about it last time around. No point in us covering dead ground that we've already covered before. So, we're all on the same page as far as lineups are concerned. Shuby's actually in the server this week as well, though, because we mentioned that last week. We didn't see him in the server, and it was kind of weird not to, because normally if he's a player on the team, he'll be in playing, even if they've got 6 players, he'll definitely jump in and get a game or two in. But he is in tonight, at least, anyway. So that should be interesting, to say the least, to watch. I know me and you have had like a couple of days off, so I think it's probably best we do like a little bit of a social thing first, right? What have you been playing this week?
Not a lot, just a little bit of CS, a little bit of losing going on, but it's
Okay.
fine.
Oh,
I'm picking up
okay.
bits of tips from these guys, and hopefully I'll get a few more W's.
This week I have been playing War Thunder.
Oh no.
Yeah, it's actually good. I genuinely I've been really enjoying it. One of my friends said to me, Nick, you play way too many FPS games. Like, come play this game. It's called War Thunder. It's free. And I was like, oh, okay, yeah, no worries. And then within like a day of playing it, I've already bought a plane. So it's not free, evidently. It's
Yeah.
it's by a premium, and enjoy playing with the premium aircraft. But yeah, I've been playing that, to be honest. It made quite a lot of it. I've been really enjoying it. It's been nice to chill out and relax, kind of thing. I've taken like 2 weeks off playing CS. Like a little mental break,
Yeah, yeah.
I
No, it's
think
always good to
sometimes you
take
need
those
it.
breaks.
I think you'll need it after hearing the fact that you've been losing a lot of your games this week, though. So that might be coming up for you. I tell you what, mate, they're already jumping into game. So let's get the knife round on, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Are we gonna be running a little bit of Knife Watch?
Yeah, I mean, I don't see why not. At the minute, as things lay out, by the way, I should mention this from the very beginning. On the CT side of things, we have the Robins. On the T side of things, we have Swansea Esports. As far as Knife Watch, I mean, we're going to have to go to the first one, right? Which is Old Fridge Goblin. I like that name, actually. That's pretty funny.
That's a pretty funny name.
That is actually a really funny name for a
cool name for a cool knife. How about that, Reaper?
Exactly, mate. Exactly. Obviously, we've got the
massacre.
The law. Yeah, the massacre and the law. And Bayonet Scorch. Can he do more? No, he cannot. The Robins do take knife round. Swansea Esports do lose the knife round, in fact. So, I mean, you'd stay, right? CT? Start the map off on Luke?
I mean, it's the conventional way to play, but Shuby might want to throw a wrench into the world.
No, they're staying. They're staying. Okay.
Okay, I mean, all right.
Yeah. Thank God we're sticking to conventional things this time around, right? Yeah, it is the conventional side of play as far as first round's concerned, or first half is concerned. If you win the knife, stick CT, can rack up some numbers early on, right? Get yourself in a good position, ready to take on that T side. Ideally, from a T standpoint, this is still heavily CT sided, of course. You know, and I don't know what they can really change to make it non-CT sided, but you want to get at least 4 or 5 rounds on T side if you're gonna look to try and survive into your CT side on the map switch. But they're starting things off correctly, Jammer, at least anyway. We've already got one pick. He does fall straight afterwards, but this outside play is just a distraction for the main event.
Yeah, a nice little appetizer, but here's the main push coming in, and Proxy's going to get the opener. The Scotsman holding things down. That's a lot of space gain, though, and it is going to be stampedes down towards the lower site. There's opportunity for the bomb plant here, but it's all on Engram. He needs to stay alive, he needs to get some damage, and that's a lot of damage done onto Elo. Now that's going to ratify the rest of the push coming in for this retake. Bomb's not even planted, and it's just Emmy left alive. Nothing left to be done, and that's a quick CT round.
It's showing the power of the duties, right? I mean, when you need a lot of damage dealt out and you need a lot of firepower to throw that damage out, having a set of duties in the first pistol, you know, the opening round of pistol, it's a good foot forward as far as, you know, being able to get those clutch moments like that. You know, seeing him switch up to go towards control room and still being able to kind of chase around the corner. It's less than half HP chasing the player that he has no idea how much HP they have, but he's been slapping shots into them, so he must think he's less than half at least anyway to kind of work that next angle. And the duties do come into quite a favourable touch at that point against the Glock. Some purchases going up on to the Robin side of things, though. We do have 2 MP9s of FAMAS. A little bit of a delay with Shuby and Isaac making their purchases. I'd imagine it's going to be MP9s, right? Nuke is one of those maps synonymous with using SMGs into the second round.
Yeah. No,
you see that, yeah? Yeah, I stream see that as well. Isaac's next door neighbor is on fire, so
it's not ideal.
The fire or
Or maybe he's just spitting fire. Who knows?
Both? Okay.
Okay. All right. Well, hopefully that's not as serious as a situation as it appears.
I mean, according to M, it's not a serious situation, right? Not his problem. Unpause.
I've got a feeling, is Egron Cody, or am I just mistaken?
I think he's
like, I have no idea. If I'll try and confirm that at some point.
Yeah, if you could, that'd be great. I mean, the names of CS players change on a daily basis, more or less, when they're in server, right? Their Twitters don't change and everything else.
They switch teams.
Yeah, don't even. Okay, UK, that is literally like UKCS in a nutshell. Okay, guys, we're gonna do a tournament. It's gonna be in person. 1 week later, every team changes hands, and you're like, who plays for who now? Who is? Am I still here? Well, like, where am I? Like, you know what I mean? Me as a commentator sitting there going, like, how am I supposed to remember that you played for this team when 2 days ago you played for that team? And yeah, it's just. It's synonymous with the way that UKCS runs, right? A lot of team changes, a lot of mixes get put together, and they end up being teams, and they switch up and all that kind of stuff. Shuby's commenting, there's sirens and all sorts happening through his mic. Oof.
I mean, I think there's sirens going on for the Swans right now because they're 1-0 down and they didn't get a bomb plant in the pistol. So there's not even going to be an opportunity for buying this round, Reaper.
There isn't indeed. I mean, we see it time and time again, right? This is a dangerous position for CTs to potentially lose against Glocks. You know, yeah, there's probably not going to be any purchases of anything, realistically speaking. I don't even think we're going to see any kind of utility from the Swansea side of things, but still pushing those Glocks and kind of like crunching into players with SMGs, you can still pull it off, right? Like, you can still pull off a few frags there, here and there. You know, recover an SMG, and then all of a sudden the tide changes.
Yeah, I think name of the game is like damage done, and also just trying to extend the round so that you're wasting utility. But yeah, I think while we've got this extended break, where we can return to that previous segment we were on about War Thunder, because I actually have a fun little bit of info.
Okay, go for it.
Basically, this week I discovered that War Thunder is actually asked during the security questions.
Yes, it is.
Of interviews for sensitive jobs.
For government clearance jobs.
Yes.
This is so mad. Okay, last night I actually play War Thunder with a few American friends. Okay, so they're different time zones and whatnot. We literally had this conversation yesterday because one of them just went in for his new security clearance for a job that he does for the US government. And one of the questions he was asked in the middle of his security clearance like interview process was, "Do you play a game called War Thunder?" And he was like,
That's amazing.
What do you mean?" And they were like, "Do you play War Thunder?" And he was like, "Yeah, every now and again." They're like, "Just for fun and whatnot." And they like the guy. He said the guy scribbled something down, and then they carried on the interview. He got his clearance and that kind of stuff, so like everything's fine. But yeah, he was like he was really weirded out by it. How mad is that? I mean,
Well,
they've had a couple of
do you
days,
know the
right?
source behind that?
Yes, I do. Yeah,
Okay. Well,
yeah.
for those of you at home that aren't aware, this is a very interesting fact. In the last 11 months, no less than 5 War Thunder players have violated top secret clearances to post classified government documents on vehicles to argue for nerfs or buffs.
It's absolutely insane, and I mean it really is. Like in the space of 3 days this week, 4 different classified documents have been released on the War
Yeah,
Thunder
there was
forums.
just an F-16 one the last week,
Yeah,
right?
literally. Like, I'm slowly like changing myself to become part of this like the new generation, right? Of like TikTok and all that kind of stuff. I watch TikTok on a regular basis because the job I do allows me to have a couple of minutes here and there to do it. I'm scrolling through TikTok, and my buddy in the US is sending me these TikToks. Like I had like 5 of them in a row, and it's all different videos of people who have leaked the documents and like talking about the leaking of the documents. Mate, it's unreal. Like absolutely just mind blowing that you would ruin your life over a video game, because that's essentially what you're doing, right? Like, you drop that document on forums and be like, the T80 needs to be nerfed and this is why, and then all of a sudden you no longer got a job. Yeah, I mean you're gonna have more time to play War Thunder at least anyway, I suppose.
I guess so. I find that so fascinating that like people will throw quite a lot away in terms of like building their careers and life to a point, and then just kind of
It's not just a
that's a
game.
gamer moment. That's
It's
a
not.
gamer
It's
moment.
not just a game, okay? It's a livelihood. It's a lifestyle choice.
Exactly, exactly.
Yeah, it blew my mind when he told me that yesterday. Um, that's so weird that would come up in conversation 2 days in a row. But still, um, were you? Obviously, I take it you work with like a lot of Microsoft stuff. Were you affected today by the Microsoft issues?
Oh yes, yeah. For those of you that weren't aware as well, for pretty much the entire working world this morning, Teams and Outlook wasn't working,
Yeah,
so it led to a lot of redundant mornings and a lot of slacking off, which was quite
yeah.
fun.
Well, my job. I'm a first line tech support analyst or first line tech service desk
That must
analyst.
have been
Whatever my,
fun.
oh, it was class. It was great. Yeah, I've heard that there's issues with Microsoft, but I still need to get access to my Teams. I'm like, I can't help you, mate. Like, if you can't read that, you can't understand it, then I don't know what to do with you. You know what I mean? Like, I really wish I could offer you kind of some kind of support. But yeah, it was fun because I I started work at like 7:45 this morning or whatever time it was, and loaded my laptop up because I work now like strictly from home. Teams didn't load, Outlook didn't load, and I was like, oh, what have I done? And then I was like, wait a minute, Microsoft servers are usually hosted in Europe on Cloudflare. Is Cloudflare down? Went on to Google Cloudflare, check the server stability of it and status of it. Cloudflare is up and running. This is really random. And I mean, when Cloudflare does go down, they normally are on it straight away as far as like tweeting about it and saying that there's something going on. So it's like, this is mad. And then I get this like ping pop up my phone from Microsoft support because I follow a few different Azure support pages on Twitter, and it was just like, yeah, we're aware that everything's gone you know gone really bad in a very bad way. We're in the middle of fixing it. Leave it with this kind of thing, and I just thought, this is my day for the rest of the day, kind of thing. But yeah, lucky enough, it was up within a few hours. But Teams and Outlook, yeah, you're right. There was a lot of people slacking off today, getting paid to sit there and sit and wait, basically. Not me, of course. I was working busy.
Yes, yes.
You
But
know,
I believe both of us were. We can vouch for each other,
I,
right?
I had to charge my phone at 11 o'clock because my battery's running out. I was like, oh, I can't do anything to help you, so I'm just gonna sit here and wait for you to come through to me and tell me that things aren't working. But yeah, oh, I am. Weirdly enough, actually, like if we're off topic from CS while we wait for whatever fire emergencies going on, um, I did an escape room today as well, a cyber
Ooh,
security escape room.
that must have been interesting.
It was. I'm not really. I'm aware of like cybersecurity and stuff, and like looking after your own passwords and making sure that your identity's protected, all that kind of stuff online. But it actually gave me a bit more knowledge than I don't know if it had the adverse effect of being like I'm now afraid to type anything into Google just in case, you know what I mean? Well, like, yeah, it was interesting. I highly recommend it if you're watching from home and you haven't got you've got like an hour spare or whatever. You can find a lot of them online to do, like YouTube videos and whatnot. But yeah, it's really worthwhile looking into. Like your red hats, green hats, and white hats, and all that kind of stuff. There's a lot of information source out there for it. Um,
Maybe we could get some of these teams in one of those and get some B-roll content, get some
but
insider info and team building and stuff.
we need to do a fire safety one first. Like evidently for Isaac and or his neighbor. I'm very much looking forward to the story of what happened, just so we can understand the severity of it. Because like obviously we're cracking jokes and whatnot, but at the same time, it doesn't sound super severe. It might just be, someone's burnt toast or whatever. But I hope it's not severe, at least anyway. That's
Yeah.
happened so many times in my office, by the way, when I worked in the
What, just
office.
burning toast to evacuate the whole
Mate,
building?
I was working. This is like welcome to the ReaperSteve and Jammer podcast, where we wait for this game to continue. By the way, I was working a late shift, right, and way back when I used to work until like midnight on the late shift. So it was like just it was like 7, 8 o'clock in the night, something like that. There's like very few people in the office because it's late shift, and I'm just like chilling out and whatnot. I've got the TV on in the office because, like, at that point, no one's going to be coming through to me to ask me questions. I'm just watching, like, I think the girls in work I was working with at the time were watching Love Island. Do you know what I mean? Like that kind of thing. So I was passively watching it and just like letting it, letting them crack on, kind of thing, all gossiping away. And all of a sudden, the fire alarm goes off, and like, there's no fire leader on our section. So we're just like, well, we just evacuate basically. Go down to the main lobby, don't use the lift, stack it, like the normal sensible things. We go outside.
Yep.
20 minutes after the fire alarm goes off, the alarm switched off. There's a fire engine outside the office, and this guy is just walking out with his head down. He's like, "I burnt toast in the canteen and it set the fire alarms off." And you're like, "Oh my god, oh my god!" Like laughing my head off. Like, imagine being that guy. Terrifying.
That's a real office moment there.
Oh yeah, yeah, full of them, mate. Genuinely, I could write a book with the amount of random things that have happened to me over the years in offices and whatnot. So this pause has gone on for a long time.
It is indeed. Should we talk a little bit about the standings and how these teams have done so far?
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Weirdly enough, and I think you're using the same resources as I, of course, because we both have access to it. At the minute, Pirates are 2-0, won both their games last week. So they're currently top of the leaderboard with 6 points. The Robins, which we're watching, which are currently on the CT side of things, minus one player due to fire emergency. They're currently joint second with Swans Esports, who are on T side in this match, and Artists and Goats. Pit Ponies and Dragons. We watched Dragons last week. We rooted for them, Jammer. We wanted them to get
Yeah.
one round, and they got that one round. They are currently joint bottom at the moment. So as things stand, we do have kind of like a fairly equal standing in the middle of the table, bottom of the table, and 3 points adrift as far as like top space is concerned.
Yeah, I think talking a little bit more about the matches yesterday, I think we saw or there were a few close matches. We
Hmm.
saw one of them, which was the 16-14 between the Pirates and the Swans.
Yes.
And I think it goes to show, like the Pirates having 2-0 up in this fashion, winning 16-14, is actually a bigger deal than probably it might seem because there are so few matches played over the course of this season. It's only like one match a night, like every week. So it is really important to win these best of ones
Yeah.
when and if you can. And so good job for the Pirates for going 2-0 up. But I think it's going to be a really interesting question, to see how the Swans will progress because, losing 16-14, that's literally the flip of a coin. That
Yeah.
easily could have gone the other way. And so if the Swans can come up with a win here, that might just throw them back in the standing to kind of try and catch up with the Pirates.
Well, I mean, the Pirates are currently playing against the Artists right now. There's another match. So as we're talking, there are 3 matches ongoing. Yeah, 3 matches. So Pirates are taking on the Artists at the minute. Goats have got a bye for tonight because one of the teams doesn't have a team. And then you have Pit Ponies versus the Dragons elsewhere. So Artists at the minute, as far as like round standings are concerned, obviously we watched the no, sorry, it was the Robins versus Dragons we watched last week. We'll be watching the Artists next week, I think it is actually. They won their sort of first kind of show in 16-4 against the Dragons, and then they kind of struggled against Welsh Esports 16-9. So it's going to be interesting to look at it from that perspective. But the Pirates, the way things are currently going for them, 16-14, they played against Swans Esports. We're going to be watching the Pirates after. Oh no, sorry, it's the Dragons Goats next. What am I talking about?
Yes.
My brain isn't working functioning properly. Yeah, we're interested in that matchup as well between the two. You'd expect the Pirates taking the Robins next week to potentially struggle against them. Just purely because of the way that the two teams are set up and lined up. Dragons get a bye next week anyway, but there's a few kind of like kind of hot tip matches that I'm kind of looking forward to. Pit Ponies we haven't seen anything of as of yet, an artist, but as I said, next week we'll be looking at them. Yeah, it's going to be. I think it'll be very interesting as it comes down to like the wire towards the end of the league.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's not just to say, obviously there are a few teams in here that are a little bit of a mismatch when you look at them on paper.
Hmm.
But I'm actually really interested to see how these like kind of lower three teams will do moving forward. That is the Dragons, Pit Ponies, and Goats, because while they might not be teams that we're necessarily familiar with or anything, if they can steal a few wins away, or if any of these players can showcase a bit of skill that other people in the scene will see, like eventually, then you can definitely kind of earn your space or earn a little bit of respect within the scene, and hopefully kind of grow and like kind of get discovered, for lack of a better word.
Yeah, and I think the other thing to take into consideration is as we start leading into, we kind of mentioned it briefly at the very beginning about the follow-on tournaments that happen around UKCS. We have Epic Land coming up, we have Insomnia coming up straight after. We do have like ESL currently going on as well, ESEA currently going on as well. So these guys will get a chance to play with and against each other as things go on over the next couple of weeks as well. So it's yeah, there's no kind of like as much as there are mismatches out there in the mixes between the teams, they're all quite well established players in their own rights anyway. So
Hmm.
there are players that are definitely ones to watch out for as things go forward. I've been seeing chat popping up in game. By the way, I think Isaac is on his way back into his flat now. So I'm assuming he got evacuated, which is why we're in this kind of like limbo period. But hopefully we'll be jumping into the next one. It wouldn't be a CS broadcast with me and you unless there was delays or some sort of issue, right? Like,
I mean, honestly, this throws me back to my uni days and like being evacuated from uni halls midway during like Newell at NSC or
oh
whatever
my
because someone
days.
had burnt their toast or whatever, and we all had to evacuate the building and take these long pauses just for no reason. But yeah, no, hopefully things have been sorted out and resolved, and we'll get going again.
Did you enjoy playing in Newell and NSE?
I did in the one season that we actually took it seriously and came like top 7.
Yeah.
But other than that, honestly, so for the majority of my time in uni, I was like trying to kind of organize teams, whether that's like as a game manager or as like an IGL or whatnot. And it
Mm.
the stress does kind of build up trying to like organize teams when someone's out on a kind of social and now you need to like reorganize like 4 rosters. Or
Yeah.
there was one year following when I was game manager where I was trying to help the teams organize themselves, but there wasn't enough people for even one team, so huge juxtaposition. But anyway, we're back in towards the game. There is no buy coming through from from the Swans, and yeah.
Feels like a century ago we said that there shouldn't be any buy coming in from the T side, but alas, we are back, as you mentioned. I mentioned the MP9 should reign supreme in this round, and we do see 3 of them on the Robin side of things. 2 FAMAS has picked up. Isaac made us wait for it, so I hope that FAMAS does some work at least anyway. Him and Proxy J having the 2 higher the damage dealers. Anyway, MP9 starts to swing through. There's 2 kills straight off the back of it, but the FAMAS from Isaac, he made us wait. I called him out on it, and he made it worthwhile.
Yeah, absolutely. Good round in the end from the Robins. Nice and clean. Only one person going down. That's Oro. And I'll be honest, I will be a little bit critical in the sense that with that double man setup, Oro could have happily and contently just kind of taken initial contact.
Yeah.
Duck down, let Isaac come in with that second hand punch, and then, you know, re-pop out there. But inconsequential either way. We're now in towards the gun round. The MP9s and the FAMASs will be retained. So hopefully trying to steal a round away for the Robins side. But the AKs are on play for the Swans, and this is where they really should shine.
Should indeed. I mean, going up against the MP9s, they're going to have to get close and personal. Deep spray throughs, trying to get the damage dealers out. It's already working, actually. Egrin and Oro are just slapping multiple players there as the crunch happens to a center. But yeah, I think, I mean, Proxy's called out there in chat, right? Before she's looking the opposite direction as Oro comes around the corner with the MP9 to finish him off in the end. But not a lot of damage dealt by the Welsh Esports side of things. It's
yeah, that was a pretty devastating lobby crunch,
yeah.
and it's pretty textbook as well. You know, you have 2 people pushing through hut, you have 2 rushing from ramp, and then the third one's just to kind of make sure that there's no leakage through the door or outside or anything like that. It works so well. You can see AKs being retrieved by 2 of these players, and that's just going to spur these guys on towards a victory, unless Emmy and King M can do something miraculous. But I don't think it's on the cards. But there's a creep out. Emmy spotted 1 player, and I don't know if player backside is aware. Isaac will jiggle out, and that's a kill. Time is now low. King M with the bomb might choose to go back down, but sneaking through the door, and that's actually a really smart play. Although time's ticking down low, he's going to have to get some sort of an initiative, some sort of a move in this. Or I don't know if Oral spotted him, but there's an almost triangulation around King M right now. The time's ticking down way too low. This is done and dusted. Even if Isaac goes down right here, it's not going to matter. There's the return from Shubi, and that is a nice 3rd round from the Robins. A bonus round, in fact, that they're able to pull across with the 2 AKs.
Going down after time will help a little bit towards the cost of economy damage there, but I mean, you can't lose that many players in that quick succession in that lobby crunch, right? Especially going up against MP9s, there needs to be a bit more control as far as how much damage you can deal outwards. A full stack of deagles, however, we do have 1 Tech 9 into the mix there, coming through into round 4. The Swans Esports side of things. Looking for these 1 taps.
Yeah, I mean, just reflecting back, the Swans, they're actually set up not too badly to hold that off. Isaac set up well here with the AWP towards outside. But yeah, I'm surprised they got actually crunched that hard in that sort of a situation. It's unfortunate, but if you want a good start, if you want a good nuke, then it will be a case of racking up these CT rounds. That's what the Robins are respectively doing, although that's not a good start. Mushy rips Isaac's head off. And that's a good place to be. These Deagles can now scale across and try and retrieve that. There are players pushing through. Proxy will get one, but instantly traded. Emmy trying to walk towards that orb. You know how dangerous it can be in his hands, but there's so many players in front of him. Gets Aurel down, and he even takes Egrin. This is a 2 versus 1 that should not have been on the card. Shubi now left alive, trying to pick up the pieces of his teammates.
Oh, Emmy sees that orb go down, and he's like, right, I need to get on that immediately. Just start swinging for it, and he gets those 3 picks. That last one, he should never be winning, right? I mean, like, he's caught in a position where the player's jumped over the top of his head. He's spraying into the side of his body, and he's just trying to connect as much as he can. Bomb gets planted down, though. Yellow does fall immediately off the back of it. Shubi's wary of that orb, though, right? I mean, it's still there in place somewhere. He just doesn't know which direction it's going to be pushing him from. The likelihood is it comes from ramp, of course, because that's the area where it was dropped originally. So he's very super cautious of the fact that he's leaving his long side open, but we can obviously see with the benefit of having the vision.
Oh no.
Rarely see Emmy miss shots like that. Needs to connect on to at least one of these. He's not going to get it, mate. Bomb defused.
Oh, how has he done that? Just when it was looking so good for the Swans, and Shubi spoils the dinner. How has he stolen it back away? And what a round from both sides.
Yeah, indeed. I mean, let's not, deflate the idea that Emmy just absolutely slapped the heads of 3 separate players back to back. One under a lot of pressure as well, also from that 3rd kill. But Shubi just creeping back into the swing of things as far as taking that round away from the Swans Esports guys. It's exactly what we want to see from a 1v1, right? You want to see that little bit of drama, that little bit of anxiety coming out in a player as well. Also, Shubi like super conscious of that long angle that he's leaving open, but makes it work nonetheless. Falls immediately into the next round as we're singing his praises, and Isaac is able to convert his first with Big Green, at least anyway.
Yeah, some of these positions and setups just haven't been working out initially, and there's been some important clutches and just individual fragging from the Robins to pull these rounds across, but this is looking like the Swans will put their first on the board. Isaac with the orb, 1 versus 3, he was always tagged down. King M and takes him out through the wall. What a shot. And now it's just Wally left alive. We'll get this bomb planted over towards B, where we've seen just how devastating these CT clutches can be. Wally repositioning, and that's smart, but Reaper, can he clutch it up?
There's so much utility available for Isaac here to retake this side. Instantly caught that smoke down towards double doors. Kimali, yeah, exactly. This is textbook as far as a retake is concerned, especially with the amount of utility he has available. Wally walks through the fire and the flames, and Isaac just finishes that round off. I mean, let's be completely truthful. Robin's just pulling rounds back like that is going to do damage over time, not economy based, but psychologically, at least for Swans Esports. That's an incredible clutch run to pull back out of the bag. Especially with the amount of mayhem that's been causing towards A side, right? Shubi gets dropped immediately by AMI, and it's just trade for trade off the back of it, and you're left with just 2 players, and it's like, how do you kind of progress into the next part of that round? And Isaac digs deep, picks up that AK, and just goes to town.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know how much more you could expect out of your AWPer from a 4K 1 versus 3 clutch. And even though, we've seen these spectacles already from both teams, this has been quite costly for the Robins. You can see they're on the verge of breaking their economy almost every single round. So if they can keep players alive, if they can win these rounds a bit more clean, then you might see them stabilize. But just on the flip of a coin, it can go the other way. And I say that for the Robins, but it's not like the Swans are sitting pretty either. They don't have a round on the board. They have a bit more money, sure, than the Robins, but it's not like they're sitting healthy either.
CT economy being the way that it is, though, if this could be a crunch round where you'll see Swans Esports maybe pull back 2-3 rounds off the back of it. If there are mistakes made, that being the first one there, Emmy managing to catch up Egrin, and the push into A starts to come true. Isaac's there chiming shots in from the top bar, but Shubi's there to help out with the fan mass. He's looking for an extra. He's not able to get it, and picks up 1. Wally's there with a bomb in hand, ready to get himself in towards sight. And the man to really hold this off would be Isaac again. It falls on his shoulders while he waits for players to wrap. That's really begun to come to fruition, and he'll fall in the end. And we're left again, Jammer, in a 1v1.
Yeah, absolutely. These rounds are getting super costly for the Robins, and oh, that nice
Ah,
clutch there from Proxy. I want to say he was the MVP for the Robins last week, putting an absolute stellar performance on, winning a nice clutch there, and he will drop that AWP over towards Isaac. Now, this is where things get a bit weird, because you've got the full loss bonus if you're the Swans now. You're getting bomb plants. It's just a matter of when you're going to break the CT economy, when you're going to start to put rounds on the board, because having an MP9 and a FAMAS with limited utility is really not ideal.
this crunch from outside again. I mean, it's just constantly happening and putting players in check. Proxy there, push right the way up, tucked, ready for any players that are going to be pushing that outside angle. And we can already see that it's Jamie that does that push. And good flashbang there from Isaac to give the assist to the Proxy, getting that opening pick. He's hunting for more, though. He wants as much out of this outside player as he possibly can. There is one other player that's out there. It's King M. He's kind of holding back at the moment, waiting for that push to come through from Proxy if it's going to happen. But the crunch happens elsewhere, over towards ramp. Elo managed to pick up two Orage or Oru. Sorry, always out here. Does actually commit onto one, but he's not able to get any more for it. But he's got, like I said, the backing of that extra player there to help out. Favouring the B site again, Egger will swing through into site, takes down Marshy, and went out in a 2v2. This could go either way. I mean, there's utility to play for as far as T-side's concerned to get that bomb blocked off. Got two mollies in play, Jammer, to work with.
Yeah, absolutely. The pressure of the time ticking down on that bomb, though, will initiate the CT being aggressive. They take the initiative, but it's not successful. Sorry, Elo picking the first off. Now Egrin, 1 versus 2 clutch. Sees the doors open. Will take the first. Knocked down low, drops the bomb. Oh, sorry, the smoke, but with no kit, Mog will clean things up, and that is the first round for the Swans. Your beloved Swans have a round, Reaper. Can they do more?
I'm happy with that round, to be honest with you. Good sustainability is what we need, however, though, and they brought deep into this one. Okay, CT economy is now crunched, right? That's the good perspective from the T side player. Looking at Swans Esports on T side for this side, this round. Yes, they've broken the economy, but it's for sustaining the break in that economy. Having that first initial pick come out from a CT player would be really dangerous because it does leave a rifle astray that could be picked up. But I mean, he's good for it. Will rotate himself back into better position to try and retain as best he possibly can and help the push come through from another angle. The Eagles can be dangerous, but that scout in the right hands, lethal.
Yeah, absolutely. I was a bit surprised to see Orao so far pushed up, and even Egrin taking some liberties. So it seems as though the Deagles want to get a move on. They want to take these fights. They want to be proactive. It's not been too successful so far, but you can see this chip damage chipping away at the players, and that's bomb spotted. Wally, precarious position actually as he's getting wrapped upon. I don't know if the bomb's going to be retrieved. This might be another round stolen by the Robins. 3 players to 2 now as the Swans finally realise, hang on boys, we shouldn't have let things fall this way. We shouldn't have given bomb control over.
How much space is here for the Robins to take as well? Got full bomb control. They've managed to recover some guns as well. Also, you got a Galil, you got an AK in play. You know the angle as well. Also, that these two remaining Swans Esports players are coming from. They can afford to just sit here for the next 45 seconds or 30 seconds as it now would be on clock and just relax and wait for them to kind of make that first error of judgment. There's the error of judgment coming through. Isaac connects on to the first, even connect on to the second, taking that away from Proxy and adding another frag into the mix there for his kill count. I mean, 11 and 5 at the moment for Isaac.
That is such a tilting round if you're a Swans Esports supporter. Sorry, Reaper. It's just not looking believable right now.
I'm upset.
Yeah, I think the players are upset. That's such a tilting round. They are going to be forcing in towards the pistols with armor, and it's not a bad call, but honestly, I don't know what the call is right here. There's not been a lot that's gone successful. There's an attempt to pop on towards the A site, but it's just demolished. Marshy is the only one to pick up a player so far, and with the utility and the players in the situation, this is just looking untenable.
It just feels like the Robins in their heads, especially after that last round, right? You break the CT economy, you dominate for 2 or 3 rounds after. That's kind of like the staple as far as CS is concerned. if you break their economy, you can punish them for 2 or 3 rounds, try and build up a bit more momentum, get in their heads a little bit. Having an eco round not go your way like that, and having it clutch back up by the Robins, that's gonna do wonders for their enthusiasm leading into the follow-on rounds. But not gonna do a lot of good for the Swans Esports boys. Bomb has been spotted. It did drop down into vent, but it's a tall task to ask Remy to try and recover this one back.
Yeah, tall task indeed. I think if we could get one more kill, that's definitely damage done. Especially looking at still how precarious this economy is. Isaac will take the fight and Emmy will fall. So calm and collected in the end from Robbins. This is actually starting to run away from Swans at this point.
It is indeed, right? I said this at the very beginning. You want 4-5 rounds on T side, especially if you're going to have a heavy CT sided map. One round going into the latter stages of the first half, it does not look healthy for your prospects into the second. Unless all the stars align for you on that CT side, you're going to very much struggle to recover the ground that you've lost in this first half.
Yeah, Proxy, he's pressured outside, chipping down through the smokes, but you can see most of the Swans pass down to Secret unharmed. Oro, though, he is harmed in the making of this production. Egren will return over towards A, so even though the B site has been lost, the threat of the lurk has been somewhat eliminated, somewhat calmed, and this is a situation where the Swans can put another on the board, although a retake is straight on, and all of the CT players are going to be making the entrance via ramp.
Isaac's already hunting with Big Green as well. He's looking for anything that he can give to his teammates as a helping hand as this push comes through from ramp. But fortunately, none of the Swans Esports players are kind of showing anything as of yet. Their hands have been kept fairly static so far into the retake. Moshi will pick up one, but he's taken off in the end by Egren. There's still some utility left out there, but the bomb is ticking away drastically as far as Robins are concerned. They're not going to bother with this one, Jammer. They don't want any of that jam. They want to wait. Get the next round done.
Yeah. I think the time just got away from them, and when you're waiting behind the utility for so long, it's just an impossible situation. You have to forfeit that space, and when you're 8-2 up, I think you can kind of just take what you're given, especially with how low their economic situation is. I don't know if Shubi... Actually, yeah, Shubi will have a gun. It's an MP9, so not ideal. But again, it feels like we've had crunch round after crunch round, and it seems like neither team wants to give an inch.
Definitely not. I mean, you got to admit they've recovered the time that we lost earlier with the pause, right? Very, very effectively from the amount of CT aggression that we've seen. We've not had too many slow rounds. They've been very much push, and crunch, as we mentioned. Shubi there upgraded from the MP9 to an AK. That's a lot of damage from Proxy up onto Henry there. I'll ward him off that top cover position, eventually at least, but at the moment he's sticking around to try and get a few bits more. He will actually finish off Proxy J as well. Unlikely as that may have seemed as well also, you'd think his number was up, especially with Isaac rotating down to try and get that top angle pick, but it doesn't happen in the end. And we're in a familiar place, Jammer, where it's 2v4 and we're kind of figuring out how the T-side are actually going to push through with this, but Arau finishes that question mark off before it become more of a sentence as Elo gets taken out of the fight immediately, and we're now left to one man standing. And again, I mentioned familiarity, another familiar position, Emmy being last man standing against a 1v4.
Yeah, I think one of the talking points we can go through for the Swans is the fact that Emmy hasn't really had an opportunity to have the AWP in his hands. It's been such a back and forth game with how much damage the Swans have been able to put down. But it's just not been converting into rounds, and right now it's started to get a little bit worrying. That there are plenty more opportunities, but they're starting to run out of opportunities. Bit by bit, as you see the Robin team, they're just taking liberty after liberty, and when you're not forcing this CT side to respect you, when they're taking so much space and just taking fights, then it can be a little bit suffocating.
It's very rare that you and I will watch a game where we have the player chat enabled as well, and I'm like, I'm not going to shy away from it. There has been a lot of conversation back and forth between players like Proxy or quite outspoken players, in the sense of trying to tilt players in the nicest possible way. And, you know, there seems to be a lot of comments flying back and forward. I don't know if that's kind of eaten into the mindset of some of these Swans esports players, you know, having that kind of impact into their gameplay and game style. Big kills there for Isaac. 2, in fact, gets one on ramp and then immediately wraps around and gets the second from outside. Definitely a player to watch out for, Jammer, as far as the rest of this tournament is concerned into the next couple of weeks.
Absolutely. There's the A push coming through from Elo and Mug. Not successful. Bit of chip damage from Egren's nade there. It's just Wally will walk towards his perspective there. Should be not going to connect. Can Wally get anything else out of this? Just even a couple of kills. It might just be enough to spur, you know, a bit of confidence into the players. It might be anything, but you can't get much. Aura will finish it off. 10-2 is how we sit after round 12. And at what point do we just kind of say Swans haven't really, you know, showed up today? They've just been outclassed.
Yeah, I pains me to say it, of course, and I know the Swans esports boys were watching the stream in the background. They're praying that I'm sitting here going, it'll be fine, everything's fine. But yeah, you're right in what you're saying, mate. It's a hard watch for me as a Swansea boy born and bred kind of thing, to see a team like this get punished so eloquently by the Robins so far. I'm saying this now as Moshi just goes on the tear, picks up 2 kills back to back. Both Isaac, the danger man as far as this game is concerned, gets taken down. Moshi will get finished in the end by Egren. Here's that player drop. Has time to pull out his knife, play around a little bit to run and get Wally on the flip as well. Like, it's a lot of confidence in this Robin side.
I think the name of the game here for the Robins has literally just been dynamicism. All of these players are literally running around the map, just picking up kills wherever they go, and it's so hard to anti-strat against, to play against, when you've got Isaac taking picks in towards a ramp, running outside, getting a pick there, Egren literally finding timings on your team that you really wouldn't be expecting, you know, at any sort of level. So it's quite the challenge to go up against. Sure, the Swans, you know, they've played well, they've done a lot of damage, but when it's just not converted into rounds, it you know, it can run away from you. And I know I've said that a lot, but that just has been the theme of this half. You know, the Swans putting on a good showing, but not quite good enough. It's not going to be a good start again, as Isaac will pick out Emmy.
Oh, a little bit of delay there on my end of things, I think. With Shuby's kill on Tilo. Apologies for that. My intent's just going, yeah, just watch FCS over the last 2 weeks, mate. And it feels like some of these players are having the same message from their keyboards and not. Ollie there picks up 1 and 2. That's 2 big kills. In fact, Shuby and Egren falling down. He even gets a chance to close the door. Goes for a single tap onto the bomb, but Isaac's good for that one. Kills him off in the end, and I'll be honest, kills off. I don't think I don't want to say it, but I'm going to say it. Kills off any chance of recovery from this. I mentioned this about 5-6 rounds ago. Swansea Esports need to have like an outstanding CT side, like a near flawless CT side as far as pistol rounds concerned. They need to pick up the following 2 rounds after. You know, they really have no let up into this second half. Yeah, they're on death's door, so to speak, Jammer, and I haven't done this in a while, but the coffin nails are coming out. You know, that's kind of how it feels like at the moment. Oh, Proxy.
We haven't even finished the first half of play, and I think you're absolutely warranted in talking about the coffin nails being brought out by the Grim Reaper, ready for hammering in to their final destination. The Swans really not having the best of times today, and I mean, we talked a little bit about how important these games are. They're best of ones. You don't get many of them to play, and you've got to pick up every single one that you can. And 13-2 at the half by fantastic displays of skill from Isaac and Egren and Shuby and pretty much everyone on the Robins is gonna lead to the Swans having a really big hill to climb if they want to come back into this.
100%. Yeah, definitely. I mean, second half is all to play for as far as esports are concerned, right? You know, I want to stay positive. You know, I'm all about that positive life now, Jammer. I've changed my mindset over the last, 2 months, or tried to change my mindset over the last 2 months. They're going to pull it back.
Right.
We're going to see straight up 13 rounds back to back, no issues whatsoever, no mistakes, no nothing. But I can't lie to you anymore, can I?
You know what? It all starts with a pistol. The Swans, they're
does.
not out of it. There are still rounds to play. But this is a really interesting play call from the Robins, just pushing their way through outside. That flash, popping them in towards the A site, and that is a death wish towards Moshi on towards the site. There is a lot of Swans players here, and they're actually working well together off each other. Bombs planted, but this is a retake that's on for the card. Just Aura left alive, and he's taken out by Mug. Really well played from the Swans. We said it starts with a pistol. Well, here it is. They've got it. Can they do any more?
I'm speechless, mate, to be honest with you. It was a really, really good pistol round. There's a really good retake. Wally, putting the team in the shoulders, essentially, at that point of being like, right, boys, we're going to do this. We're going to get these kills back in. That lower side play, it's wonderful if you can get the good retake. If you can get a good timing on the retake, right? As long as you still have at least 1 or 2 players up top, you can get some good shots into them, get some early damage laid out. You can assist the rest of your teammates by being that player, that standard player to kind of commit well off the back of it. And yeah, Swans Esports are able to pull the pistol round out of the bag, but this is going to be a super dangerous second round, especially.
What?
Especially with Shubi doing that. I mean, like, where did he come from? He's immediately in the face of Emmy. How he survives, I got no idea. But Moshi's also chiming in with a bit of extra frag damage there. Takes down RXJ, and okay, this stifles the Robins massively when you consider the amount of damage that was just laid out by multiple players.
Yeah, it does seem as though their only option now is to be funneled down towards the B site, and while there's not really anyone here from the Swans to greet them, a 5 versus 3 is definitely a position in which you fancy yourself on the CT side. While he has the kit, we'll have to wait and see if that comes into play at any point. Isaac lurking up towards ramp, and if he takes out Wally with the kit, then that might be instrumental, although Egrin is going to be the first to face him. Wally will be the best of him. Orao and Isaac now holding off all 5 of these players, chipping them down low, but not even a kill to transfer over yet. Elo taps the bomb and will just lock it in as Orao.
Yeah, Isaac's still behind. Isaac's still behind.
Isaac is behind. So close, yet so far it is going to be Swans staying alive, keeping 3 players alive, and nice bits of rifles picked up. So, oh wait, what? Did Elo take his? Did Elo take his hand? Oh, I didn't even realize he took.
Did he?
His hand off the diffuser.
Oh my god, he did.
And that's led to a Robins victory. I have no idea how that's happened. G2, eat your heart out. I don't know how the Swans have fallen to this position. That's a big rip if I've ever seen one. Now the Robins are set up perfectly to steal this away. The Robins, they've just been gifted one. I don't know how the Swans are going to recover this. I would have hoped for a pause to come through or something. I'm
sat back in my chair like I've done and dusted round. Like, this is, it's a good round from Swans Esports. And then all of a sudden, I had the time as well. I mean, at the point that they got onto bomb, didn't even need to worry about Wally's defuse kit, right? Like it had plenty of time as far as the retake is concerned. It was super quick to get themselves into site control and take out those 2 players. Isaac maybe having a little bit more of an impact there coming from the rear side. That's potentially what's lost Swans Esports that round, in fairness. It's a fake flash that comes through squeaky doors. Shubi doesn't follow up behind it. ProxyJ, however, elsewhere on site is still chiming as things go through, but Emmy's laying up damage as far as the equals concerned. There's a crossing pass. What is going on here with these players?
It seems like no one and everyone's here to play, and the retake is initiated. It's just Emmy with a deagle, and it might be done and dusted. Isaac swings out for both of those kills, and there were some real head-scratcher moments. I really want the Swans to call a pause.
They need to. They have to. Like, there's going to be no pause.
We're barely composed, and we're just watching the game. I don't know how the players are. What is going on?
Please call a pause. Like. Players who are watching this that don't call pauses, you need to call more. Like, I was just saying, the amount of times that you and I have sat back and gone like, wow, why are they not pausing? Why are they not pausing? Okay, they're just going to let it crack on. And this is the kind of impact it has. Oh, 2 players taken out, 3 players taken out in quick fashion. Isaac there getting another 2 to his name also. 29 and 8 Jammer at the minute as far as KD's concerned for him. Hello, ladies and gents. We're back, and you get to see our beautiful faces for a couple of minutes while we wait for the players to be ready to rock and roll. We got the next game up, though, Jammer. It's going to be Dragons versus Goats, CSGO. Yeah, I mean, we watched Dragons last week. They were our team that we wanted to get 1 point, and they did. So,
Yeah.
pretty
I
happy
think
about
they
that.
got 2 rounds in the end, right?
Did they get 2? Yeah, they got 2. Yeah, they did. Yeah, they got 2 against Robins, the team that we just watched a second ago beat Swansea Esports. Less said about that, the better, because still haven't recovered, to be completely truthful with you. But yeah, we're pretty much ready to go. We've got all the players in. There's a couple of players that are still kind of like set themselves up, getting themselves ready to go as far as warm-up's concerned. For this game though, I mean, Jammer, Dragons 16-14 against the Artists. They then lost 16-2 against Robins last week. Of course, we watched that game as well. Tonight, I haven't seen the updated scores from their game against Pit Ponies. I don't know what the score is on that one. I'm assuming that's not been updated yet on the site. As far as Goats are concerned, though, they won 16-14 against Pit Ponies, and then they lost 16-0 against Pirates last week. So, like a bit of a mishmash, essentially, of the way that these teams are set up. I'll tell you what, before we do anything else, let's jump in, watch the knife round. I think
Yeah.
that's probably a good idea, right?
It's nice to be on Mirage. I don't think we're gonna see many Mirages in this
No.
tournament, to be honest. So, yeah, it's good to be on a map that I'm sure both of these teams will be comfortable and somewhat familiar with.
It's your normal kind of like starting point as a CS player, right? Like you either play Dust 2 or you play Mirage on MM at least anyway. We're not talking about like deathmatch and all that kind of stuff. Deathmatch is strictly for like Dust 2 and that's how you begin. But from like an MM perspective, Mirage is like a fairly well played and well understood map from a lot of players. So yeah, I mean you'd expect them to know strats, callouts, smoke, bits and pieces like that. So yeah, it should be fairly self-explanatory from both sides. I mean, for me personally, winning the knife, stay on CT. Yeah, I think that's fairly. Yeah, that's expected. Actually, they've done it straight away. Oh my God, I actually got a call out correctly. We do know
I'm
what we're
sure you'll
doing
get a
every now
few
and
more.
again, right? Like I just
Yeah, I mean, clock's right twice a day, so.
yeah. By the way, for your reference, Goats CSGO are on CT side, and we have the Dragons on T side. We have. I'm not gonna make. I'm gonna make you do it. What's the name of the university that Vivian goes to?
Oh, I need to pull it up again. We'll get through the pistol round and I'll
Okay,
have a
okay,
go.
okay,
So
okay. Sorry.
instant A smoke's coming out from from the Dragons, and it's going to be a fairly well structured execute. Only one player on the side. That's Ollie. He takes one player down. Just needs to try and get a couple more kills, but no, it will just be the one, and that's a huge gap in the jungle smoke. These fights are probably unwarranted. Riz should be getting a bit more out of that. And there's a couple more to return from the CT side. Should be a retake that's coming on, but Silly Willy is taking heads and taking names. 2 in the round already. Gonna try and get a bit more. Vivian fighting in towards CT will drop early, and now it's just sucks like a 1 versus 2. What a name as they peer over the stairs on towards the site.
Yeah, I don't know what Vivian's doing there, trying to take that early aggression. So is not in a good position to really provide any assistance to that swing, from T side ramp. Sorry, CT side ramp. Like it doesn't make much sense for that to happen unless you're going to pincer and connect on both sides, right? And I think it's just a step too early, maybe out into that early aggression, and yeah, she does get put down for it, unfortunately, as a result. Good round though from Dragons. I mean, I don't want to be that guy, but like a vast improvement on what we saw from the last week on Vertigo.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it kind of helps that these teams are a little bit closer in skill level to each other than we've seen in perhaps a few of the early games. But that aside, these two teams should put on a good showing. It's going to be a quick A take though, here from the Dragons rushing through the connector, and there's not really much damage coming from the USPs. Pretty much part of the course. Nice little spin from Mickey there. Try and take down the last player. Will be finally put through, and that's a quick 2-0. But now we get the gun round.
Yeah, we do indeed. There should be some more, a bit more momentum from the CT side of things, depending on what weapons we're going to see come out. There is an AUG in play. Little pocket AUG, maybe. A little bit of mid-action there with the AUG would be interesting to see, especially with how clinical, the Dragons took mid-control early on. Their connector being the main focal point. There we go. We get that initial pick. That's kind of what we want to see from Brizzy as such. But Jan and I think that was largely Lewis there do a little bit of damage there onto Speed, takes him down, and we're now in a kind of like stalemate situation. Both teams have lost one player each. Mid control has been completely subverted and allowed for T side to kind of maintain and hold, and they've got enough time to recover the bomb back and potentially use that to kind of that bit of extra space to build their momentum up towards a push. I mean, realistically speaking, both sites are open for contention here, but it depends on what happens in this mid control. Rizzy, reacquiring a bit more room here could have been good, but it's not. Yeah, it's unfortunate right there.
Well, timing's not going to work out so far for the Goats, but Goats in the name. Goats not on the server. They are instantly dropping like flies. Just Socksucker left alive, and that's something we've said before. I think in this situation, it really kind of fell to the wayside when you kind of sit on the site as the Goats with no utility, and you're not being proactive. You're not going out trying to get information. You're not going out trying to get kills. It was just Riz kind of going a little bit into that direction with that middle lurk, but again, with no flashes, with nothing to support him in terms of teammates, it's just not a sustainable position. You can see now, quick 3-0 to the Dragons, and well, it's gonna look to be a fourth.
Yeah, Rizzy taking a lot of the initiative there in that last round. Gets the initial pick from mid. He's unlucky with that smoke, right? I mean, it dissipates just at the perfect timing for him to get caught off guard, and I think losing that mid control and not kind of making movements out towards, it's just giving them all the time in the world to kind of wrap and get proactive from a T side perspective to get themselves into the site controls. So this round is done and dusted and over with before we can really kind of bite our teeth into it. Mickey there securing the lion's share of the frag. 7-1 for them at the moment. That all coming back to bite the CTs in the backside, more or less. Big greens out there, Jammer.
Absolutely. I think that's going to be a catalyst if the Goats want to come back into things. Nice nade setup actually here from the Dragons. That will smoke off top con, I believe. And I think that will help taking in this mid control. It really depends on what the reaction is here from Rizzy. Speed's going to take the initial contact and he instantly mollied off. No space to be gained. Mickey's just charging up short, and this is a really tough B crunch. Got players rotating into position. Vivian, she's not going to have a good time holding a nade out. Will try and just hold off the site, but nothing to be done for the Goats. This is already done and dusted, and that's even before these players have rotated into the site. I think they're even going for the save already.
Yeah, don't blame them. I mean, you've got an open play there. It's a glass open, fairness. There's no armor, no nothing to really recover into that next round from Rizzy. He's not going to have a lot of cash to work with as well. Also, you've got Ollie, who does have armor, does have utility. Keeping rifles and keeping that little bit of extra damage dealing ability is more favorable for the CDs at this point. Oof. As I'm talking about, Ollie will drop in the end to Mickey, who's just been electric as far as the last 4 rounds are concerned. He'll get finished off as I'm singing his praises by Rizzy. Pops out for another one, gets Large Lewis out of the fight. Now just try to sustain that AWP if he can, but he's got 3 players pushing in his direction. There's a boost in play, and Reels is the man to finish Rizzy off and recover the AWP.
He is a real one, retrieving the AWP for his own services. And look at this money, it's absolutely swelling for the Dragons, just fire raining down on towards the Goats. And it is tenderizing that meat real good, Reaper.
It is indeed. Okay, I'm gonna bully you now. Can you read can you read the last message in chat? I'm interested to see how you pronounce that last word.
Okay. Dalio Leon Drago.
Anyway, I'm going to save you. Let's jump back into the gameplay before. We're not going to go there on that one.
Who does need saving? It's the Goats, because they're not having a fun time on the CT side. Dragons just compounding on towards this A site. And I can't remember the last time that I've seen the Dragons in a worrying or compromising position. 3 MP9s left alive, trying to do anything they can. It's Ollie to strike first, but there's so much more work left to do. I just don't see it happening unless Vivian can pick up a few kills.
Okay. Oh. Yeah, I mean, it's clinical as far as that first kill onto Vivian. Ollie there is just, it's a given at that point. He's super low HP, and getting that last final kill, kind of seals the deal, so to speak, for the Dragons. You're getting nice try, by the way, in chat. So that was a good attempt, mate. It was a good attempt.
I'll take that.
I'll tell you what it means. Yeah, well done, Dragons. Basically, is what
Right.
it's okay. It'd be easier just to do it that way for you. Dayown, indeed. Swing through there. Mickey's just super aggressive. Every single opportunity they get to swing out and do some damage, they take that initiative. Rizzy is actually the man that takes all that damage. Really finishes him off in the end, and Mickey's just going for it and just enjoying his life at the minute. He's taking another. That's Vivian out of the fight. We've got a 2v5. Speed there, last man standing. Large Lewis does fall. Ooh, he actually manages to swing over Mickey.
Oh, no.
It's just rude, man. 43 kills on the knife now for Mickey there. In fact, his stat track expanding round by round, as it seems to be. Speed is last man standing, and he's caught between a rock and a hard place because he's got Silly Willy to one side of him, and yeah, I mean, I was going to say Mickey coming the other side, but he actually wrapped around into side and still managed to get a connection on that frag.
Yeah, there's nothing silly about Silly Willy's gameplay right now. This is dominating, and I was actually hoping for a bit of a closer game. But honestly, when you have this rough start as a CT side, with how fragile the economy is, we mentioned it in the last game, it can be a real uphill battle to come back into things, especially on a game as momentum-based as Mirage. And if the T side is feeling it, then they're just going to be taking fights that you can't contain.
100%. You have a T player like Mickey who's happy to just swing peek onto things. I mean, even swing peek dry as well. Also, because I mean, a lot of these opportunities he's been kind of awarded, he is swinging dry into angles that you shouldn't really be getting away with. But yeah, if he's happy and he's willing to build on that momentum, let him crack on. I mean, 2 HP to his name at the moment, and I'll be honest with you, even with 2 HP, it still feels like a massive danger to the CT side. Good trade over.
Sorry, I was just going to say, the real linchpin of this round has been Rizzy for me, picking up those 2 kills in underpass and not being punished. It might be just enough of a problem to get the first GOATS round on the board. We'll have to wait and see. That's a good start. Ollie will compound it. Kian falling, and Wheels will be the next to challenge. That's actually a really good set of kills for the Dragons right here. Just Socksucker, and actually, they're running right into him. Mickey, just 1 bullet to kill him. It will be locked in, and Socksucker stuck on the corner, but is able to barely escape Reaper. Can he lock in the clutch?
Reels doesn't have bomb control here yet, so there is time for Socksucker to get into a good position, but he needs to stop making so much noise. Reels should know now that connector is the direction that Socksucker will be coming from, so this is why he goes for the plant. He knows he has a couple of seconds to time with, and yeah, I mean, okay, break that last couple of seconds down there. Socksucker jumping through window, that gives Reels all the time in the world to get himself onto site, right? Gets himself in a good position, you know, to plant with some inkling towards post-plant position as well. Also, you know, that position there's perfect for him as far as connect is concerned. There's only really 2 directions that he needs to look out for. It's either going to be top of steps or he's going to be swinging through out in the open. Yeah, he takes the better of those of that scenario essentially just by his setup to begin with. Rizzy swings through, kills Mickey. Immediate push there through into T ramp. Good early aggression, Jammer.
Yeah, and you need to try and get away with those sorts of things when you see the utility in the situation it's in. Silly Willy taking liberties and spotting a lot of information, so you can pass that on towards the players, get this A crunch underway. Ollie will fall. No adjustment from Speeds, having a rough game. And now it is just a downhill slope, a slippery slope indeed, as it's just Socksucker left. 1 versus 4, hunted down from every single angle. We'll get 1 kill, but that little shoulder peek is just enough for a 9th round, as the Dragons really are raining down hell.
They are indeed, mate. They are indeed. I was going to do the Game of Thrones thing, but I'm not going to do it. Never mind. Switching forward, like I'm getting myself off topic before I start quoting Game of Thrones things for dragons and all that kind of stuff. We had enough puns last week, Jammer.
Look at this Riz though from Rizzy onto the auto sniper. Can he make it viable? You know what? If there was ever a desperation play that I wanted to see work, it's this one.
Oh yeah, an auto sniper across mid, 100%. Retaking with an auto sniper, not too healthy. Like, especially when you've lost all the site control over towards B, your only option is to really push blind towards an AK. Can he swing on to kill? No, Large Lewis reigns supreme with the AK there against the auto. A little bit of damage dealt, but not enough to write home about. Speed there picks up 1 on a retake. 1v4 Jammer. No, not going to happen, unfortunately. 10 rounds to the better now for the Dragons against Goats. Well, they do say that if the Dragons were real, Goats and Sheep would have been their main staple. So, evidently, they're on a feast tonight.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I just taking a quick peek at the standings. Actually, this is a pretty important game for the Dragons. They are 0-2 right now. Goats being 1-1, so this would pretty much set both of these teams in equal standing. And it does actually set up Dragons to overtake, considering, you know, if the Goats are getting beat this badly by the Dragons, then there's surely another team that the Dragons can come up against with a victory. But we'll have to see if that comes to fruition. You can see here, though, round 11 is petering towards a Dragons victory again, although this could be a bit precarious if there's overextensions. I say that, though, there's overextensions from the CT side. And, yeah, it's all fallen out of hand before it even really got threatening.
My big question is going to be this, Jammer. I think you know where I'm going to lead into with this. Where was this Dragon side last week on Vertigo? I mean, having players like, you know, like Mickey take those kind of drastic action frags and kind of pushing out, swinging into positions that you wouldn't expect players to do so, would have been unbelievably helpful against the Robins last week. But Sylvie, we're into this week's games and this week's matchups, and if it's working now, let it continue. I mean, Goats are struggling at the moment as far as their CT side of things are concerned, and yeah, I think it goes without saying having those players on lower number of frags, like Spee, Vivian, you know, Socksucker, it's gonna do more harm than good over time, especially when you continue to feed the beast essentially that is Mickey and also Large Lewis to a certain extent at the moment. Silly Willy, however, is going to swing himself through into towards site, gets through that smoke. The flashbang does cause a little bit of disruption to begin with, but it's good for that first initial pick. And yeah, this site control is completely lost. Spee's dead now, and we're left to a 1v5. A familiar scenario, just with a different player left in the last position for CT.
Yeah, Silly Willy just became a wrecking ball on that A site, and I don't really know how or where the Goats go to try and, you know, steal a round away at this point. It kind of seems like drastic measures need to be taken in the form of, you know, stacking sites very early on to see if you can just kind of get the gamble right. But right now, what they're doing just isn't working. You know, the economic situation is not in their favor, so it's a rough one to say the least. But to be fair, you know, looking upon your comments for last week, I think that the real crux of the matter is, you know, there's a real kind of wide berth of skill in this tournament, and I think that just shows, you know, how kind of what's the word I'm looking for?
Varied.
Diverse. Yeah, very diverse kind of player base in the Welsh CSGO scene, at least. Actually, while I'm talking, the Goats are petering towards actually coming back into things. Now 3 versus 2. This could be the first Goats round, and just in the flip of the hat. Last week we were cheering for the Dragons to get one. Now we're cheering for the Goats. This might transfer through. Mickey actually will pick up a kill. Instantly traded by Vivian, so she's having some impact. That might help. Bombs down in towards middle. Reels going to try and retrieve that with a minute on the clock. I think the instrumental fight is between Vivian and Reels. Haven't quite spotted each other out yet. Just a matter of time. There you go. Vivian not going to connect anything. Throws a firework up into the air. And will be warded off by a counter Molotov. Oh, this is not ideal actually now.
No.
Vivian's location known. Reels can reposition, can almost toy with the prey at this point. Vivian feeling the pressure, feeling the heat, is going to just stay alive, keep position. And finally, we get some initiative as we can see, you know, Reels moving towards the A site.
Yeah, I mean, he's got the world at his feet essentially at this point, right? I mean, 48 seconds left on the clock. He can continue to wrap around to B. You can go up a side B. You can come through apps, or he can make that like kind of, I would think, a more favourable decision of wrapping through T spawn, get towards A, get bomb plant through A, and knowing where Vivian's last known position would be. That again, there's limited options as far as a retake. You know, unless Vivian's kind of wrapped herself around in towards CT and going to pop up through jungle or pop up through those sort of locations. There's only one or two places they can really come from, especially with the amount of time that's been wasted in this. Oh, the show does not seem by Vivian. Reels will finish that round off. That's 13 on the board now as we swing into the dying stages of the first half.
I've just noticed Reels has only died once.
Yes.
This man's playing running simulator, just running around the map.
Yeah.
But yeah,
he's a pack mule for his team, basically. He's carrying the AK around and being like, right, who needs an AK? Right, you want one? I'll get one for you.
All right, buy coming through. One of the last few buys that the GOATs are going to have for this half. And yeah, not the best cobbling of assortments, but it's what they're working with. 2 players on the A site as this hit comes through. None showing any kind of info just yet. Ollie will trigger things. Speed with the counter, and that's only one to come through. Everyone falling to the wayside. Now it's just Rizzy with the scout. Will get one. Able to retrieve the orb there, but orb in a retake is not ideal.
Open a retake while just getting utilitied out of position is not good. Gets one off the back of that. That's largely where it falls, but Reels, he's listened to us call him a pack mule, basically. He's like, I can carry my own, thank you very much, and picks up the last frag. He's actually got 2 in that last round, put himself to 8-1. It doesn't... It's... I mean, I think we're past the point of saying this, but it doesn't look good for GOATs at the moment. It's... I mean...
it's looking good for the Dragons.
Yeah, it's looking very good for the Dragons. Yeah, definitely. I mean, we mentioned this last week. We wanted to see more from them. I think this is a good, case of having that time to crack in between. Obviously, these games are played a week apart, so there's 7 days in which these players have got time to kind of recover and have a chance to potentially play, alongside each other. And this is like all orcs on mid. Might be the round for GOATs here, Jammer. We're talking through it, but... Oh. Never mind.
Just as you talk about it, it's all looking like a jinx. Vivian almost being taken out of the server. And there's a lot of space to be gained on the CT side, but just a matter of whether they'll take it. Mickey will fall in the meantime, and Large Lewis locking the plant over towards B. I don't know if these players are going to realize it's over towards B. Doesn't seem as though that's been realized just yet. Although, as I say that, they move in towards market. Vivian will be the first to fall. Large Lewis locks it in and repositions just on Socksucker now. A man who's been last alive quite a few times tries to get the jump in. Will lock it in. Makes a lot of noise. Time's ticking down. There is a kit, so there's a prospective win on the cards, but Large Lewis is outplayed and outmaneuvered. It's gonna look like a 15-0, and Socksucker is just... Okay. Yeah, really good showing here from the Dragons. I've been impressed with their skill. 23 and 8 there from Mickey, having a whale of a time, as well as Silly Willy, 20 and 8. Not the best game for the GOATs, but you know what? There are plenty of other games.
Yeah, we still have a couple weeks left
for the season. I'm sure they can take a lot of lessons learned from this kind of a thing, and hopefully move forward to the other games in a better standing. Full bits of armor here for the Dragons. No kits, no utility, but on the other side of things, Rizzy and Vivian with Deagles. So really throwing everything and the kitchen sink at the wall. Rizzy will connect actually in towards middle. It's a good start. Trying to prevent the 16 notes. 2 more players to find, and that is a demolition derby on the B site. That's not a good start. Just the Deagles left alive, and it will be Riz to... Okay. Just give it up.
No. They want the knife.
The knife battle. Okay, I respect it.
I respect this.
Being hunted down by a pack of hyenas with knives in their mouths.
Guess what?
Good start, but it won't be a good finish. Large Lewis will lock in the 16-0 Reaper.
Yes, indeed. Right. Well, I mean, yeah, locking in the 16-0. I think that's the second one for this evening. Not mistaken. Looking back to my match list now at the moment, to be honest with you, scrambling for my notes. Yeah, it is the second evening. Yeah, I mean, what can you really say? It's one of those sort of match lineups where it doesn't really fall in favor of goats. You're playing against what feels like a rejuvenated and revitalized Dragons team, and they've really just had everything to play for into this one. It actually kicks them off as well. That bottom spot, as you mentioned earlier on, we should now see a little bit of a change up as far as the group stages are concerned. They won't update straight away, of course, but we would imagine Dragons would go up by 3. We see Swans Esports stay at 3. Robins go up to 6. Pirates are on 9. Goats will stay at 3, of course, and I think Pit Ponies will also stay at 0, if I'm not mistaken. I might be wrong on that one. I don't think they pulled out a win today, but they were playing against Dragons, and there's been no updates on that match as of yet. There, so, for scoreline at least. But yeah, I mean, Jammer, really good matches for this evening for the both of us. I think we had a whale of a time on both of them. Watching all the talent that is available from Welsh gaming as well as Welsh Esports League. Looking forward to the week ahead. We actually get to watch 2 different teams that we haven't watched as of yet next week as well, which I think is another one for us to look forward to, Jammer.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. It's shaping up to be a very interesting start to the season as we move through, and hopefully we'll get some more surprises coming through. But yeah, I think that's been it for us today.
Yeah, indeed it has. Don't forget, of course, EsportsWales, again, as always, promoting esports gaming and streaming within Wales, developing esports in Wales from a grassroots to a national level. Get involved with Esports Wales by clicking on the links below in the stream. You can join the Discord, follow them on Twitter, all that kind of good stuff. You can see our Twitter details on stream. I'm ReaperSteve1. Jammer is Jammer_CS. Give us a follow also and keep up to date on all the stuff that we're getting involved in. But otherwise, we will leave you for this evening. We'll see you in 7 days' time, 7 p.m., same place, same time. And we'll watch some more CS together. But otherwise, you have a great evening, everyone. And yeah, we'll see you next week.